Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 137th episode of Don't Forget the Popcorn. Before we get into this, go ahead and like and subscribe. Do me that favor. I'm trying to hit a goal, and I'd love if you guys would help me hit it. Guys, follow me on Letterboxd, Ralph Vader. That'll be linked below. Make sure you do that. Having a lot of fun over there. So today, we're going to do one of my favorites. I'm just going to go off the head, and we are going to talk about 2025's Weapons, directed by Zach Cregers. I believe that's how you say his name. Zach Cregger. Written and directed by Zach Cregger. Weapons, man. This had to be one of the most anticipated horror films, or just films in general, of the year. I saw the trailer a few months back, and I was like, this looks interesting. And I was like, man, this is an interesting looking film. And then it came out. And the pre-reviews, people were talking, and I was like, man, I gotta see this right now. So I saw it over the weekend, and I gotta say, man, this was a very interesting ride. Now, Weapons, it stars Josh Brolin, Julia Garner, who was just in Fantastic Four. She is really starting to blow up. This film also stars Benedict Wong, Austin Abrams, and Alden Ehrenreich, who is Obi-Wan. Or not Obi-Wan, excuse me, Han Solo. Yeah, damn, wrong guy. And Amy Madigan. She was incredible in this movie. This movie got a pretty good cast, man. And everyone played their roles really well. So what's Weapons about? Weapons. At 217, 17 children run out of their house, Naruto style. Naruto runners, man. They all at the same time run out of their house and go to some mysterious place, and no one knows where they are. And these kids have been missing for a while at this point. Now, there's one kid out of this entire classroom who does not go missing. And that's weird, right? So, of course, everyone is pointing fingers, and mostly pointed at our lead, Julia Garner, who is their teacher. And this is weird, right? It's a mystery. This is a mystery film, a missing persons film. And I gotta say, this is probably the best missing persons film we've gotten since maybe like Prisoners, man. This movie definitely reminded me of Prisoners from, who directed that? Denis Villeneuve? I think it was Denis Villeneuve directed that. And Hugh Jackman's character in that movie reminded me a lot of Josh Brolin's character in this movie. But this movie is very much its own. This movie very, very much is alive. And, I thought a lot of it was pretty original. We had a good time with this movie, but this movie was nutty. Now, simple plot, right? The kids go missing, and we got to figure out what happens, right? Now, everything that's going down, it's in a small town. And when stuff like this happens in a small town, it is the talk of the town. And everybody knows what's going on. And it's one of those things where it's like, man, how could this happen? How could something like this happen in such a small town? How could something like this happen to kids? How do they all go missing at once? It's weird. It's a mystery, and that is the fun part about it. I thought it was a very interesting premise, and that's what got me, interested in seeing this thing in the first place. I was like, I wonder what's going to happen with these kids and what's going on. And I must say, I had a great time. I had a great time with this movie. What makes this movie great, though, it's the characters. You would think a movie like this would be very by the book, very, okay, we know what happens, something happens, oh, everybody's pointing their finger at one person, and then lo and behold, it wasn't that person. Oh no. I mean, yeah, it's kind of got some of that going on, but man, it's layered. But what makes this movie great, like I said, is the characters. Julia Garner's character, like I said, she's a teacher. she's got her issues, her flaws, and we see the human side of her come out after these kids go missing. She has her things going on in her life. But one thing is she loves these kids. She really does. And, it's killing her just as much as it's killing the parents, just as much as it's killing everybody else, that these kids aren't around. Then we got Josh Brolin's character, who plays the father of one of the kids who's missing. And he's just a dad who wants to know what's going on. He wants to find his kid. He misses his kid. And it's tearing him up inside each day that this kid is gone. And I mean, in my eyes, Josh Brolin was just your regular, everyday parent, and how they would react in a situation like this. And it sucks because, he feels helpless. It's like there's nothing I can do. What can I do to save my child? So I thought that was cool. Then we got some other players that come in. Benedict Wong's character, he plays the principal in this movie. And you feel for him too, because he's stuck in between the middle of everything, because he's getting pulled in every direction. On one hand, he's dealing with the teacher who everybody thinks is responsible for this, but then he's dealing with the parents and the kids, and man, I wouldn't want to be this guy in this situation either. But then you got some other players, okay? You got Austin Abrams' character, who is an addict, a drug addict, in this town, and you'd be shocked at how much this guy comes to play into this story, into helping figure out what's going on here. And his character was just hilarious. He was great in this film. He made me laugh a lot. Man, he really brought the humor here. And then Alden Ehrenreich's character, he plays a cop who he's got his own stuff going on, and man, that dude he's got his own little demons he's trying to deal with, and man, it just kind of shows you the life of a cop can be a rough run. But Amy Madigan, let's talk about her. Now, I know you guys probably don't know her by name like that, but she, like I said, the main thing I remember her from, what everybody else seems to remember her from, is Uncle Buck. She played Buck's girlfriend, and she plays the aunt of one of the kids in this movie. And holy hell, this woman brings us maybe a career best performance. I don't know, man. Like, I guess she's been working this whole time. I just haven't seen her in anything. I mean, wow. I couldn't believe what I saw from her in this movie. So the characters, man, make this thing go. And one thing I'll say about this movie, we spend time with all these characters. It's not just thrown into the fire. This movie is split into, I guess, chapters, and each chapter covers one of these characters, and you get to know them, and you take a ride with them, and you know more about them, how they're connected to this, where their role is. And that was a part of the movie I wasn't expecting, and I thought that was one of the things that made it crazy, because it made you give a damn about a lot of these characters. It forced you to. And I think where a lot of horror movies lack these days is we don't really get too much character development in horror movies these days. And we get a lot in this film. We learn about these guys, some more than others. And I mean, truthfully, on one hand, I could have took a little bit longer with this movie to get a little bit more from some of these characters. But what we got, I think, was good enough. And that's what builds this movie up. Now, I will say this, and I think a lot of people would tell you this who've seen the movie. This movie has tonal shifts through it. It's a pretty standard 3-act structure, but each act shifts. And the first act is very tense and serious, and you're like, man. But by the end of this movie, I was laughing my ass off. I was dying. This movie is very funny. Now, I have not seen Barbarian yet. I actually think I'm going to watch it tomorrow. Zach Eggers' first movie. I want to see that movie because, man, Zach Cregger I'm interested in you after this movie. And I've heard good things about it. I've heard some bad things, but I've heard mostly good things about it. But I heard that movie's also pretty funny too. And I gotta say, this movie made me laugh way more than I expected it to. I mean, I was dying, especially in the second half. I really, really thought it was funny. And a lot of people took issue with it. And a lot of people's issue was for a movie that started off with such a serious tone, should not have shifted into this comedic tone. And on a personal level, I liked it. I actually thought you gotta laugh sometimes. And some of these scenarios and situations were just funny. And just because something's scary or serious doesn't mean you can't take a break to chuckle for a little bit. And I actually appreciated that because because the humor, it comes out of nowhere. It's not forced. It's very much lies in the situations, but it's just the way the execution is incredible. So I thought it was really, really funny. But as far as the missing persons movie goes, I mean this one, it hits it. It hits it on all levels. It looks good. This movie looks beautiful. The cinematography in this movie is amazing, yo. The way they shoot some of these shots, I was very impressed with. I must say, everything done in this movie was done very well. It was done right. For a horror movie, I mean, this is the highest quality you can get. I mean, we've had some all right horror this movie. Obviously, Sinners is that's like my favorite movie of the year. Sinners was incredible, absolutely amazing. I mean, even like Bring Her Back was pretty good and looks good. You know, horror's doing this thing this year, but this is the horror movie, yo, for this year besides Sinners. You know, I think Sinners is still number one by a long shot, but this is definitely number two for me. In its style, its execution, the performances, the story. One thing that I'm worried about though is how is this movie going to hold up on a rewatch? Because it is one of those movies where once you know what's up, it's gonna take some of the flavor out of it, yes. So I'm not sure how this is gonna hold up on a rewatch. I think it'll still be just as enjoyable, but of course, the shock and the sting isn't gonna be there like it is on the first time. But this movie, man, it's a horror movie. I know a lot of people were saying, "Oh, it's not a horror movie. It's a thriller. It's this, it's that." Man, this is a horror movie. There's some gruesome ass kills in this movie. I mean, dudes are getting effed up. There's jump scares, a lot of them. People were jumping out their seats in the theaters. People were scared, gasping, all that. This movie is definitely, I wouldn't say it's terrifying. I wasn't scared personally because it takes a lot to scare me in a movie, you know, especially if you see so much horror. But everyone else definitely reacted to this like a horror film. This is a horror film. It's got great kills, great gore. This movie's got some gore, man. There's some cool ass horror action in this movie. I was very, very impressed with how this thing does. It keeps your interest from start to finish. Is this a perfect film? No, no, it's not. There is some plot holes, which, you know, we won't get into. There's a lot of things that I think we should have spent more time with. There's some things I think we could have spent less time with. But I mean, the plot holes, they're minimum. This is a very well written story. It very, very much is. And I gotta give it to Kreggers because he wrote this in such a way that it just builds on each other and builds on each other, and it all culminates into one thing. And once it does, it just feels right. It just feels right. I gotta give it up to him. I had a great time with this movie. I had a lot of fun with this movie. I must say, this is one of my favorite movies of the year, man. There was a lot of good themes in this. And we've seen it. We've seen the mob mentality that can come in situations like this when people panic, when people are in fear, when people have run out of options, when people just don't know what to do. We've seen this situation before where someone's a scapegoat for something just to appease the mob. And this movie could have went that route, and I'm glad it did and didn't all at the same time. This movie, it it was a fun time, man. I must say, I had a blast with this movie. So, should you go see this? Is this worth your money? Hell yeah. I think this is worth the price of admission. I was very glued, start to finish. I was not bored at all. I was very invested in this film. I was very excited to see it. So yes, my interest was high, but I really felt like it was worth it. I gotta say, This is probably like my third or fourth favorite film to drop this year. I gotta be honest, man. I fully recommend everybody going to see this. Spend your money on it. Take your $15, go out and see this movie, support it so we can get more movies like this, guys. The movies aren't dead, the movies are back. Don't believe what you hear. We gotta support the films, we gotta support the industry we love, guys. So, what am I gonna give Weapons? Well, I'm going to give Weapons an 8.9 out of 10. Guys, thank you so much for watching my Weapons review. Let me know if there's a film or topic you'd like me to review. If you made it this far, do me a huge favor, like and subscribe. It really helps me out, and I appreciate that a lot, guys. Trying to hit a goal. I'm trying to get to 800 subs. I appreciate it if you help me out. Guys, I got a podcast with my buddy, The Cutting Room Floor. I'll link that below for more movie content. Make sure you follow me on Letterboxd, Ralph Vader. It will be linked below in the description. I will be back next week. And don't forget the popcorn.